right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Tonight, the search for closure a decade after a tragic shooting.
We always wanted justice.
The parents of a St. Louis teen killed by police speak out on their fight for justice.
Brisk breeze. While the wind will be a bit gusty Thursday and Friday, it's still warmer than average. Your weather impact forecast is tracking a chilly change for the weekend.
Our top story, fake workers, real danger.
We don't see it much over here, so it's a little frightening.
The search tonight for two burglars who tricked their way into their victim's home. A warning tonight from police who say those two men posed as utility workers to steal from an 86-year-old West County woman. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The brazen burglary happened last Thursday in Manchester. New tonight, 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend reports one of the wanted thieves has been charged.
Mike and Kelly, that's right. At this hour, both burglars who pretended to be gas workers are still somewhere out there. Now, meantime, police are warning homeowners to be on the lookout for the scammers. Investigators say around 4 Thursday afternoon, a police camera first caught this silver truck riding down Sugar Hill Drive near Big Ben in Manchester. They say Frankie Costa, who's from Chicago, and another man posed as utility workers, got out of the truck and randomly targeted an 86-year-old woman's home. The victim lives alone.
They conned her into letting them in her residence.
Police say the men told the woman there was a damaged gas line up the street and they needed to check her furnace.
She asked about their vehicles. They said they were parked up the street. So even though she was kind of hesitant, she allowed them in her residence.
Investigators say one of the burglars kept the homeowner distracted in her basement while the other went upstairs and stole $750 worth of jewelry from her. Both scammers took off. Fortunately, the woman wasn't hurt. Any idea if they were armed?
We do not know.
It's a little frightening. She's okay. It doesn't happen often around here.
A spokesman for Spire says they issue all of their workers, even third-party contractors, Spire badges. The gas company encourages customers to ask for one.
They always have credentials. They're advised to show them.
Detectives issued a warrant for Frank Costa. He and his accomplice are wanted for burglary and stealing. Meantime, folks in this West County neighborhood are now on alert.
I would not fall for it.
If anything seems suspicious, call us.
Frankie Costa is also wanted for a burglary in Chicago. Additionally, police say he has theft and burglary convictions in Florida for crimes that occurred in 2019 and 2023.
Just into our newsroom, 3 people are now charged in connection to a shooting in Cahokia Heights that killed one 15-year-old and injured another. Dante Jackson, Xavier Lacey, and Deontrez Mosley all face charges for aggravated discharge of a firearm. The deadly shooting happened Saturday on Lazarsheff Drive. The Major K Squad says others could be involved in the shooting.
Tonight, a former Overland police officer is in jail charged with kidnapping his pregnant, estranged wife. Derek Godfrey is charged with multiple crimes, including kidnapping and domestic assault. Court documents say the two got into an argument in his car when he took her phone and wallet. He started to drive away, not allowing her to get out. She later escaped and walked back 2 miles to where she met him. Godfrey is being held on a $25,000 bond.
A live look over downtown after a warm Wednesday that made a lot of us wish it was spring already. However, we're back for a cold snap to reality.
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is breaking down the mixed bag of conditions on the way and how it could impact you.
You know, I think this weekend we'll really notice that cool down, but the next couple of days we're still well above average in St. Louis. So when we're looking at the weather impacts, rest of the work week is still mild by February standards. So limited impacts here. We will have a gusty breeze as we head into tomorrow, but it's a relatively warm one. We're close to 60 tomorrow, close to 70 on Friday. But the chilly change this weekend comes in time for the Grand Parade over in Soulard. Mardi Gras, of course, this weekend. And then we have some rain on the way by the time we get to Tuesday, maybe some thunder as well. That cold front came through today without a whole lot of fanfare. Most of the showers and thunderstorms really didn't start developing until they were almost out of the 5 on your side area. And we didn't see much around St. Louis. And even behind the front, we are still above 50 degrees in the metro area tonight. Now, it will be cooler tomorrow morning. Heading out the door, we're looking at about 40 in town. 30s in the outlying areas. There will be a breeze, so wind chills tomorrow morning, mid-30s. That's what it'll feel like. But tomorrow afternoon, rebounding to near 60. We'll talk about the weekend in more detail in a few minutes.
New tonight, we're hearing from the North County family awarded more than $18 million in a wrongful death lawsuit after St. Louis police shot and killed their 18-year-old son.
It happened nearly 10 years ago, but the jury's verdict was just handed down last month. As 5 on your side's Brent Solomon explains, it could still be a number of years before the family even sees that money, Brent.
That's because the family's attorney says the city of St. Louis plans to appeal the jury's multi-million-dollar verdict. Take a look. The case of Mansour Balbay ignited calls for justice and change in St. Louis.
But this is really for the police to know to stop the police brutality.
His parents remember getting that terrifying call back in August of 2015.
I was working that day. I was at work, and I get the phone call from my sister telling me that my son here got shot.
Little did he know his 18-year-old died at the hands of police.
And I leave the job and get to the scene, and it's real chaotic with the police and the protesters.
It happened here at Page and Walton. Balbay was at a relative's home that police were called to while serving a search warrant. The family's attorney says the 18-year-old ran out of fear.
At that point, the police very frustrated because he's running from them, and they fire a shot, striking him in the back. That severed his spinal cord.
Attorney Jermaine Wooten says police claimed he was holding a gun at the time.
The problem was, with his spinal cord being severed, he would have gone down immediately, and now we have the firearm more than 100 feet away from his body.
He says an off-duty officer saw the teen toss the gun before running. In January, a jury awarded the family $18.75 million. Wooten says the city is appealing that verdict.
I'm not surprised by the move, but I thought maybe there would be a level of empathy and say, you know what, this family's been dealing with this matter for more than 9 years. Let's go ahead and sit down with this family, apologize for what's happened, and go ahead and compensate this family now that a jury spoke loud and clear in less than 90 minutes.
Guess it's another part of me gotta be patient, because it's already here took going on 10 years, so there I got to be patient again.
A court date is not yet set for that appeal. The attorney says it could take another year or two before there's a final ruling. I reached out to a city spokesperson tonight who said he's not able to comment because of pending litigation. We're live downtown. Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Just a few hours ago, the candidates for the St. Louis Public School Board squared off as they vie for the 3 open seats. Many of the candidates took part in a forum at Vashon High School. It was hosted by the American Federation of Teachers St. Louis. At the same time, other candidates took part in an alternative forum held by the group Coalition with St. Louis Kids. The board election is April 8th.
Tonight, the gun range used by St. Louis police for firearms training remains shut down due to disrepair.
The deteriorating conditions come while candidates running for mayor take aim at priorities in police spending. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, uncovered the forgotten history of the facility and one police family's personal connection.
At a recent forum, would you change that practice?
Yes.
Candidates running for mayor debated the police chief's salary, $175,000 from the city and $100,000 from corporate donations funneled through the St. Louis Police Foundation. Mayor Jones, can you also tell us, did you have any reservations about that setup for the compensation for the police chief? And do you think it's working?
I absolutely think it's working. We needed a world-class police chief.
That question came from an anonymous person in the crowd.
So when I asked that question that night, I did not know the state of this facility.
Patrick Moynihan takes personal pride in what this rundown firearms training facility used to represent.
And it just so happens that it should be named for my grandpa as well, and there should be a sign at the entrance.
In the early 1980s, police desperately needed a shooting range for training, but money was tight.
He went to his friends and to his family to raise money to build this.
Eventually, generous donors raised enough to break ground.
Everybody pitched in all across town.
That shovel and these photos of the dedication still in the family.
The persistence, dedication, and leadership of Lieutenant Colonel William E. Brown resulted in the completion of a unique facility, which is the department's first outdoor firearms training center.
When his grandson learned the range was in ruins, shut down in disrepair for 3 months, he started echoing critics who raised questions about the stated mission of the police foundation.
They cannot comprehend how the police chief is allowed to take $100,000 extra from private corporations when it should be going to equipment and facilities, and now the equipment and facilities are completely abandoned.
At police headquarters,
the gun range is not operational.
A spokesman says the city just approved a contract to spend up to $3 million making repairs to get the training site back open.
Our expectation was to try and get this done by April.
And when it reopens, one proud family with deep roots in South City hopes the service of their grandfather, a member of the greatest generation, won't be lost along the way.
He beat the Nazis. He was in the Battle of the Bulge. He was here solving crimes, protecting citizens. He cared very much about that.
Reporting in St. Louis, Mark Maxwell, 5 on your side.
And the chief's office tells us they believe the sign honoring Lieutenant Colonel William Brown has been, quote, gone for years, but assures the family they'll bring it back.
Right now, up to 80 employees at Homer G. Phillips Memorial Hospital are out of a job, and advocates want answers. Workers received termination letters yesterday, months after the facility furloughed workers. The hospital says it's due to ongoing business challenges, but workers and city leaders have hinted at financial troubles within the hospital. One city alderman says these firings are a disgrace to the hospital's namesake, which was a beacon of black health care until it closed in 1979.
We didn't want the name to be called Homer G for this reason. For employees not getting paid, the hospital's temporarily closed, and them just not being able to offer quality care of what the original Homer G. Phillips was.
We've reached out to the hospital's developers and management for comment. We're still waiting to hear back. Another downtown restaurant announces it's closing its doors. Sand Cafe and Market will shut down on Friday. The owners tell us they just couldn't recover after seeing a decline in sales back in October. Within the last month, Simply Delicious STL and Wave Taco have both announced they're closing their downtown locations.
A bright future for a piece of national history right here in downtown St. Louis. Officials announced today the old courthouse will reopen on May 3rd. The 186-year-old landmark finished up a 2-year-long renovation. The makeover includes a gallery devoted to Dred and Harriet Scott's legal battles against slavery. This is only the second significant renovation to the courthouse since it was built in 1839. A years-long effort to end child sex trafficking.
It's not the stigma where, it's a kid taken from the Target parking lot.
Tonight, the boost from the state capitol to protect kids in Missouri. The beads will be flying in Soulard this weekend. Tonight, the message from police to keep them from raining on your Mardi Gras parade fun.
No rain for Mardi Gras in Soulard Saturday, but there will be a chill in the air. We're tracking the weekend changes and when the next chance of impactful rain arrives.
A push tonight in Jefferson City to give people sentenced to prison new avenues to fight their convictions. Today, the Missouri House heard bipartisan arguments for 2 bills. One would require the courts to set aside any judgment if new evidence is presented that overrides the conviction.
Missouri is the only state where your sentence is the deciding factor of your innocence. So if I'm sentenced to life without prison, I have no rights. If you, sir, are sentenced to death, you have more rights than I do. So we just think that that's a little out of balance.
The Missouri Attorney General's office has not responded to our request for comment on this story.
Missourians are finally seeing results of a 2022 law aimed at combating child sex trafficking.
Right now, 4 specialists across the state are receiving new state funding to help better protect children. And new tonight, Charlie Keegan shares the voices of 2 Kansas City women hoping to make a difference.
Experts say child trafficking goes beyond the stereotypes, like truck stops. There are families selling children to pay rent.
It's not the stigma where, it's a kid taken from the Target parking lot.
We believe that it comes out of, needing to meet basic needs such as rent or food.
Olivia Markey and Tyann Wiederholt see the realities of child sex trafficking. They work at Child Protection Center. This is where trained professionals interview children who've been the victims of crimes like trafficking.
It's in our bones, it's in our blood to work with this population.
Markey is working here thanks to a 2022 law. It put in motion state money for a new approach to better coordinate groups in 4 locations across Missouri. She's defining trafficking and finding solutions.
There's real people that are affected by this, and it's not something that's simple.
The state will measure success long term. They'll want Markey and her counterparts to create new protocols and procedures for Missouri that will ultimately drive down the number of sex trafficking incidents and create new resources so survivors land on their feet.
I've known that grown-ups were doing this to children, but putting that label on it that the child was being trafficked, it was alarming. It felt like another deeper layer of abuse that's happening to a child.
Now, children have more people working for them.
That was Charlie Keegan reporting, and one of the 4 specialists in that program is based in Wentzville.
We are just a few days away from the big Mardi Gras celebration in Soulard.
And before the party kicks off, St. Louis police have some safety reminders for revelers. Cans, coolers, bottles, or backpacks will not be allowed on the streets of Soulard Saturday. They're also asking residents to make sure their cars are locked and to hide any valuables. Anyone driving to the event should also make sure to designate a sober driver and to park in one of the designated parking zones.
And getting the whole party started, of course, is the big Bud Light Grand Parade. It'll start at Busch Stadium on Saturday at 11 a.m. and go all the way down South Broadway to the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. And Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is here with the weather impact forecast. I know you have the Mardi Gras forecast, but first, today was just so beautiful.
It really was.
Christine shared this picture with us from the 5 on Your Side Weather Watchers Facebook group. She said the seagulls were enjoying it up in West Alton today. Temperatures close to 70 degrees. You could still see a little bit of ice there on the Mississippi River, kind of up against the banks, but we've seen a lot of that melt over the last couple of days with this warmer weather. We had a cold front come through. Today we had clouds midday. This afternoon we were watching a few isolated showers and even a couple of rumbles of thunder southeastern portions of Missouri, southern portions of Illinois, but this did not do much for us, and the air behind it is not all that much colder. We're still right now around that 50-degree mark in St. Louis. 51. Northwest wind at the moment is 14, so you still have a bit of a breeze, and it will be gusty going into tomorrow, but 70 was our high today, 43 the low. Those numbers way above average for this time of year. Tomorrow morning, it's colder, but not that bad. Temperatures in the 30s away from town, around 40. Skies continuing to clear out. The breeze does stick with us tomorrow. It could gust 25, maybe even 30 miles per hour at times, but you'll see plenty of sunshine tomorrow, unlike today where we had to deal with clouds for much of the day. We get into the weekend, bright and warm on Friday. Look at that. 71, about as nice as it was today. Bit more of a breeze on Friday, but the breeze turns cold on Saturday, or at least colder. We're in the 40s for highs. If you're going to Mardi Gras in Soulard, about the time the parade steps off, we're talking 41 degrees with a wind chill of 35. And your wind chills will stay in the 30s all afternoon Saturday to around 40. Sunday, another dry day. In fact, as we track the impacts over the next 7 days, yes, there is a slight impact, a low impact here Saturday and Sunday because it's a little colder. You'll need an extra layer or two, but not like it was last week. And then we have our rain arriving, especially going into Tuesday. It looks like most of the rain holds off until sometime Tuesday into Tuesday night, but this could be a significant rainmaker for St. Louis. A half an inch to an inch certainly looks probable, and most of it's happening later Tuesday into Tuesday night. Potentially some strong to severe thunderstorms down across parts of Arkansas, western Tennessee, Mississippi, and portions of Louisiana. Don't think the severe weather ingredients will be able to make it this far north. That's for next week. We're dry until we start to see that unsettled weather push in. That's not until sometime Monday into Tuesday. And tomorrow, even though it's cooler, wouldn't say it's really colder. 61 for the high tomorrow. We'll take that with the breeze. It's a warm wind on Friday, back to 71, and then we're back to reality. March 1st, Saturday, temperatures only in the 40s for highs. Saturday night, Sunday morning, back into the 20s for lows, so that's kind of invigorating.
Yeah, that's what you want to call
and then,
it.
well, compared to last week,
Yes,
I'll take
we'll
it.
take it.
And then, we have some rain by Tuesday.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, the Cardinals have an impressive young pitcher. The Blues are in a groove, and we are going to show you a wrestler from East St. Louis who lived out a dream this weekend.
Taking Flight, Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
So it's a good thing that spring training means nothing because the Cardinals are 1-4 and were no hit for 12 consecutive innings. All you look for in the spring are some good things, like this guy, Michael McGreevy. He looked sharp in his 2 innings, 6 up, 6 down with 2 strikeouts. The same couldn't be said for the guy that followed him. Tink Hence allowed 6 runs in a third of an inning. The Cardinals couldn't make up any of that deficit. That's because the offense finished with only 3 hits today. The final was 6-0, but McGreevy did turn some heads in a small sample size.
It's 2 innings. It's the first 2 innings of spring. I think when you get to 4, perhaps 5 innings, you have a better idea of what you have. But I thought the way he commanded the mound, much like we talked about with Quinn Matthews yesterday, is something I think we're all looking forward to seeing.
I look forward to seeing each and every Blues game moving forward. Is this an aberration, or will they go back to being mediocre? Gotta love what you've seen out of the break. The Blues will hit the road for 7 of their next 8 games, but they've raised their game since coming out of that 9-day break. 6 different players scored their 7 goals last night. Now, defenseman Cam Fowler says they set the tone in practice after their 4 Nations break.
Our guys really went to work in those practices. We pushed each other. We had some competition out there that really kind of helped us gear up for those games. But I think mentally and physically, you just have to know that you're coming back after a break and you got to get yourself ready to go for some meaningful hockey. And that's what we did. And, it's paid off in these games so far.
Michigan State at Maryland. Trey Holloman, a half-court shot. Wow, the Spartans win 58-55, a half-court buzzer beater. Holy cow. All right, St. Lucie High with their good-looking coaching attire hosted Webster Groves. Look at Orlando Pace's son, Landon, slithering inside. I think he's more athletic than O, and I think his dad's watching tonight. Now, this could be the best prospect in town. Scotty Atkinson, the super soft, had 28. Webster rolls 65-44. MICDS hosting Westminster. 2 really good teams. Tyler Ray, bucket and 1. He had 16 points tonight. The Wildcats have a silky smooth sophomore themselves. Will Power, left hand off glass. MICDS won on a buzzer beater, 47-46. Finally tonight, the young man behind me is the definition of success. Pierre Walton works 18 hours a week at a restaurant, and he is 8th in a class of 239 at East St. Louis High School. But it's what he did on the wrestling mat this weekend in Champaign which caught our attention. It's fitting that the book he's reading in class right now is Hunger Games, because this East St. Louis wrestler needed it at the most important time in his career.
In my finals match, I was down 7-0.
And then Pierre Walton responded with a pin, the first ever East St. Louis State Wrestling Champion since 1943.
It was surreal. It's amazing, man, really. I mean, first to do it in 82 years or something like that, it's crazy.
Crazy also in the celebration. He body slammed his coach, Stephen Doty, who was a star wrestler at Virginia and who's extremely close to Pierre.
We always go at it. Actually, he warmed me up before a bunch of my matches, like before my semifinal match against undefeated wrestler. He warmed me up, and I really appreciate him for doing that.
And Coach Doty thinks the sky is the limit for Pierre.
Whatever he sets his mind to. Honestly, he could go wrestle at any D1 college that he feels like he could be a national champion freestyle and Greco.
I really want to wrestle in college. I want to go to college and make my family proud, make East St. Louis proud.
I am really betting on this kid's future.
I've never seen
we do it after a great show.
Coach.
You know,
Great show.
Coolest thing about this kid, he knew we were coming the night before, so he went out and got a haircut, so he looked good for television.
Oh, that's really nice.
What a good kid.
Thanks, Frank. Well, an iconic lamp illuminating some legal troubles. The small town hoping to get a leg up.
Today marks the anniversary of some serious llama drama in Arizona. 10 years ago today, 2 therapy llamas escaped, leading their handlers, residents, and law enforcement on an hours-long chase. The video of the chase, of course, went viral across the country. Both were later safely caught.
Maybe they needed some therapy. A 50-foot-tall leg lamp has sparked a legal battle between a small Oklahoma town and a big Hollywood movie studio. The city of Chickasha put up the statue to honor a resident who claims he invented the iconic lamp for the movie A Christmas Story. But Warner Brothers has issued a cease and desist letter to the city saying it's copyright infringement and they want the major reward destroyed. As of now, a lawsuit has not been filed.
Let them keep it.
We'll see what happens. And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. We're always streaming on 5+, which is free.
That is free. We hope you'll start today, your day tomorrow, with the Today in St. Louis crew, and that starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.